we go, right? Ready? All right, here we go. My name is Ernie Bach Jr., and I am President and CEO of Subaru of New England. And I am proud to be in the great state of Vermont. I have a house in Vermont. I have a house in Mendon, Vermont. I love it. Fantastic. Subaru is dedicated to Vermont. The most Subarus sold per capita in the world is Vermont, with 15% penetration. We have been selling the second largest amount of Subarus for the last 15 years. Subaru in Vermont is the second best-selling car. The only manufacturer that beats Subaru in Vermont is Toyota. But we're getting close, and we want to show our commitment to Vermont. And to show the commitment to the Vermont, I'm going to introduce a gentleman who I've known over the years. He's a good guy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Governor Scott.
I thought he was going to introduce someone else. Thank you very much, Ernie, and I want to express my sincere appreciation to you and Subaru of New England for your commitment to our beautiful state and willingness to step up to help in our time of need. This incredibly generous contribution that hasn't announced yet, but I will help support a wide range of Vermonters who were hard hit by catastrophic flooding. It will also keep Vermont the clean and beautiful place we know and love, and as we welcome visitors to support our economy and communities. This will be a $250,000 contribution that is going to be this incredibly, again, generous contribution of $250,000 is going to be impactful in so many ways. First, we'll be using the $100,000 of it to support the fall version of Green Up Day. And we're going to call it Flood Recovery Cleanup Day, which will be Saturday, August 26th. And more on that in a few minutes. Second, another $100,000 will go to support those who live in mobile homes impacted by flooding. We're working out the final details of the program, but when I told Ernie about the situation some mobile homeowners were in due to flooding, he agreed with me that no Vermonter whose mobile home was destroyed should have to pay for the deconstruction and removal of it, which would add insult to injury. And this contribution will cover those costs, and if there's any funds left over, we'll issue grants to help those in further need. Third, the remaining $50,000 will go toward the Vermont Strong License Plate Fund, which will also support businesses and individuals impacted by flooding. A little bit of news on the plates. We expect the website to go live by the end of next week, so you'll be able to order Vermont Strong plates very soon, so stay tuned. Next, we'll hear from Kate Alberghini, the Executive Director of Green Up Vermont, who will go into further details about August 26th. To be clear, the state will continue to work with communities to remove flood debris, and in fact, we've already removed 5,700 tons to date and still counting. And when you do the math, that's a lot. That's 11,700 pounds, 11,700,000 pounds of debris. Cleanup Day on Saturday, the 26th, will be another opportunity for Vermonters to help communities get back to normal. It will be similar to Green Up Day, with Ernie and Subaru of New England have supported, which they have supported over many, many years. After Tropical Storm Irene, there are many who canceled their trips to Vermont, as you might recall, and decided to vacation elsewhere. We want to prevent that from happening this year. We know much of Vermont relies on tourism to support our local economy, so Cleanup the Day will help make sure we continue to be the most beautiful state in the nation and show that we're open for business and ready to welcome people back to our state, which will help us get back on track. So again, I want to thank Ernie and everyone at Subaru of New England and all the dealers here in Vermont that are represented. I think there are 7 at this point.
There's 8, but
8.
I got to tell you, this program that you developed with the money is amazing. And we were talking about how the schools have problems sometimes funding music programs. What I would like to do right now is add another $100,000 to the music programs and the art programs in the state of Vermont.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, again, that's incredibly generous and a very, very much welcome surprise, something that we hadn't talked about. But we have a few other issues we need to talk about as well. So we'll keep on talking. Again, I want to thank you, Ernie, and your entire team here in Vermont for all you've done to support us in our time of need. And this is going to be a long road. This isn't going to be we're not going to recover overnight, but with your help and the support of many Vermonters, we'll get through it. Because we work together, we'll get through it together. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So at this point, I'd like to welcome you up to explain the program.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor Scott. All the support that everyone gives Green Up, and certainly Mr. Bach and the Subaru of New England team. That's a hard act to follow. I am pleased to stand here and tell you about this special flood recovery cleanup that Green Up Vermont and Subaru of New England and all cities and towns have teamed together to make happen on Saturday, August 26th. What we're doing basically is reaching out to all cities and towns throughout Vermont and seeing who needs assistance in their public spaces to clean up litter, flood litter that has leached into their areas. Roadsides, parks, waterways that are safe to go into right now will all be part of this program. We are reaching out then to attract volunteers and build teams around these locations throughout Vermont so that people can go to a location near them, know what's expected, be boots on the ground, and get these areas cleaned up in time for our fall visitors and our winter visitors to arrive. Vermonters are steeped in pride for this state and our clean environment, our natural landscapes that we all get to live, work, and play in. So it's very important to take the initiative on, make this happen, and get Vermont cleaned up in time for the fall. People should... Towns and cities should contact Green Up Vermont through our email, greenup@greenupvermont.org, as well as call the numbers that are on the website. So yes, please visit the website, reach out. Volunteers are also asked to visit the website, have a look at the towns that are in need of your hands and help, and sign up. We have a Green Up Vermont app that can be downloaded, and that app will allow towns to be able to be in contact with the team members immediately so that details can change on a dime and people can be directed in the proper areas. So all that can be found on greenupvermont.org, and we look forward to getting out there on Saturday, August 26th and cleaning up Vermont.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Kate. And it's going to be very important for us. Tight time frame. We know that, about 10 days away. And so we'll need all your support from the media to get the word out of what we're doing here. And any questions, get to Green Up Vermont to get those answered. And we'll do the best we can to get this rolling. I just wanted to, again, that was a complete surprise to me, the $100,000 for the music programs throughout Vermont. And we'll figure out how to disperse all that money. But it was just as a result of Ernie saying, what can we do to help in the arts and with some of the learning loss and socialization loss that Vermont kids have experienced due to the pandemic? And I said, well, they're always underfunded, especially the music programs and arts and theater and so forth. And he said, well, I might do something about that in about 5 minutes. So again, complete surprise to me, but giving a little background, Ernie graduated from Berkeley and actually had a band. It was called the Ernie and the Automatics. And I was telling my press secretary yesterday that Ernie actually opened up for Deep Purple. And he said, Deep what? As I'm sure some others in the group here might be saying as well. But they were a pretty famous band at one time, maybe a few years ago. But his love of music and his love of Vermont came to fruition for us. And this is incredibly generous. And I thank you so much for that. With that, I'm sure you have some questions for us, either Kate or Ernie or myself, on anything we're doing today or anything we announced.
Did you say $100,000 of donations for Green Up Day?
$100,000 would go towards the mobile home, those affected by the flooding, yes.
I got that.
But it could be, so it'll be cleanup day. Some of it will go towards cleanup day as well. But the mobile home deconstruction will come first out of the $100,000, and then from there there'll be other grants available. Same with the cleanup day of Vermont. That'll go towards the day itself, and then we'll determine what we can do. If there's anything left over, we'll determine where we go with that and make sure that we continue to beautify Vermont in any way we can. Anything you want to add to that, Kate?
Governor, where do we stand on some of the mobile homes for folks that are currently displaced right now? A few weeks ago, you mentioned maybe bringing in units from the federal government. Where do we stand?
Yeah, we're still contemplating that, and I might ask Will. Is Will here? I might ask Will to describe some of what FEMA will offer in that regard. But first, we have to get in some respects, get the deconstruction of those the mobile homes that were condemned and unable to be returned to, taken care of. But we have some options for those who've been displaced. They have available a number of programs. I'll let General Roy talk about that.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. So for the families that are currently displaced, they are authorized rental assistance. So they've found a place to go, or they're with friends and family, not sure where. The state of Vermont has requested direct housing from FEMA. We're awaiting word from headquarters of whether that's approved or not. That program allows us to provide assistance when there isn't rental stock available. And we know Vermont has a very tight market for rentals. But currently, anybody who has been affected their home has been affected by the storm has rental assistance. I think there's over 1,000 people right now who are receiving rental assistance from FEMA. And they have that available up to 18 months. So those who have been impacted have the funding available. If we run into short stockage for places to go, that's where we typically bring in the FEMA trailers, which are well known, and we'll work with the state on appropriate locations, states and individuals on locations to go. In some cases, we can, if they have a flooded home and they have a location that's not in a floodplain, and it has access to sewer and electrical, we can place a unit there. So we'll work closely with the governor and the communities and individuals on appropriate locations if that becomes part of the solution.
What do you see as a timeline on when FEMA might make that determination? Make it chilly
Yes, sir.
soon enough.
We expect within the next week we'll have an answer from headquarters.
So after the Maui fires, FEMA came out with a top line number of what it thought damage was from that disaster. We haven't really heard a top line number yet out of FEMA about what it was, or have I missed it?
So we've discussed before, looking at the total number of people who have been impacted by that, what will happen is we continue to work with them on a rental assistance. And that's really what's fulfilling the need right now for those who have been displaced from their homes. And as I mentioned, there's over 1,000 people right now who are receiving rental assistance. Now, what we don't know is you can still stay in a location that was impacted and receive rental assistance. The question is how many people are going to look for a long-term permanent location to be at, i.e. up to 18 months. But I don't think, look on your face, I don't think I'm answering the question properly. Yeah, so, sure. Yeah. That I don't know. I do know that we've got over 500 families or 500 people we're working with right now who have either destroyed or substantially damaged homes, if that helps. I don't have that for you. We can see if we have something close to that, but right now I don't have that exact number for you.
When you say Vermont has requested direct housing,
Yes, ma'am.
does that mean Vermont has requested trailers or?
Yeah, so direct housing, there's a number of different programs incorporating that. Multi-family locations, locations that have either 3 or more units are so that FEMA can lease for those is one of the options. A direct lease where we can find locations to lease for people, or the mobile homes or recreational vehicles. They're all options on the table.
Could you confirm for us whether or not the window for the first disaster application is actually closed now, that folks in Addison County didn't make it, and the possibility of a second application?
Yes, sir. So I can confirm that the incident period has closed on the 17th of July. I can confirm that Addison County didn't meet the indicators required to be declared as a county for individual assistance.
Does it strike you a little odd that a geographical line will determine assistance, that you go a quarter mile across the Addison County line into Oakland County, and that person is covered?
The nature of it is that the way the law, regulations, and policy are written, we actually work by the county. And so it's based upon the county line is the way it operates.
What's the likelihood of the second? We were talking about that last week. Maybe might have another application.
Yeah. There's two things I want to add to what was just mentioned by General Roy. The period they have notified us the period is closed. We respectfully disagree and are asking them to reopen it. At that point in time, it's up to them whether they reopen it and consider some of our arguments for support during a longer period of time. If they disagree at that point, we can appeal, formally appeal then, and we'll see where it goes. At the same time, we're accumulating all of the damage that was done in Addison County, specifically in the August storms as well. And so we'll see if there's another declaration at that point. We believe and again, we'll make this argument that everything is connected. Even though there are different storm systems, the first storm really created a lot of havoc in terms of culverts and so forth, and the saturation of the water and the ground level. And so at that point, we feel that even storms that weren't as significant as the first created just as much damage as a result, and just the accumulation of many different storm systems, but repeated over days. And again, we'll try and we're going to determine whether we can meet the threshold for another declaration for Addison County as well. Did I miss anything there?
In terms of that process of figuring out if you do have to file an appeal, is that process at the same place it was last week?
Nothing has happened in that regard. They came to their determination to close the period. We were notified of that, I think, yesterday, maybe day before. And so at this point, we're going to be formally requesting that they reopen that. And it isn't an appeal; it's more reopening that decision, and then go from there. I don't know; it's on their time frame.
This is in regards to the debris, but what's the state's long-term environmental concern regarding the debris and the importance of getting certain debris cleaned up first?
Well, I'm sorry, what was the last part?
I guess if there's a primary focus of certain debris that need to be cleaned up on by a certain date.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying. We would like to get most of the debris picked up by the end of the month, by the end of August, and that includes all the debris we've seen in Barre and Montpelier. And as an aside, when we look at the totals of the tonnage of debris, it's now it's about 1,600 tons, I believe, in Montpelier. Barre has like 3,700 tons that we've picked up already. So that number is continuing to grow. The most significant amount is in the Barre area.
How's the capacity up in Coventry? I know we just expanded.
I haven't heard that there is a capacity issue there at this point.
Of all the needs in the state right now, how do you determine, or did Ernie determine that $100,000 worth of mobile home demolition and removal cost was the best way to spend it?
Well, again, it's an unmet need. It's something we found after Irene that all the costs depend. With FEMA will determine how much damage they had, and if they can't go back into their unit, they will give them a certain amount of money, and it depends on the value of the mobile home itself. From there, they're still responsible for deconstruction of that home and moving it off from the rented space. So that's not included anywhere. That's not something that FEMA reimburses for. So that's when we came and put a program together after Irene to take care of that for them. And we want to do something similar this time around. Because it's just, again, for those who are impacted and really struggling, this is just an added expense that they don't need.
And was that a recognition that the amount that FEMA is going to have reimbursement to these people with home service and not be enough to replace it?
Regardless, the cap for FEMA is 41,000. 41,000. That's all in, but that's not what they reimburse. They reimburse the value of the structure itself. So if you have let's say a mobile home that's it's older, it's worth 7,000-8,000, you get 7,000 or 8,000. So that doesn't come close to replacement. And then you add the costs of $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to deconstruct and dispose of the unit, then all the money's gone. So we wanted to do whatever we could to support that, knowing that it's not enough.
I think that $100,000 might very well support about 20 or 25 or so.
No, I think we can do it. I think we can take care of all of them with that amount of money, because we're also going to leverage, some of other organizations for support, whether it's equipment to do it. And things have changed a little bit. We're able to, FEMA will be taking care of the debris itself if we can move it to the right of way. So that's changed from Irene. It'll help, right? We can do them with a more efficient process.
Governor, the White House has submitted a, I think, $12 billion FEMA supplemental appropriation bill that Congress will consider when they come back from their August recess. I'm wondering, whatever money Vermont gets from that, will it be also aligned with the same kinds of restrictions that the FEMA funds that are available now, or do we anticipate having more flexibility in the use of that money?
I think there will have to be more added to the supplemental bill by our congressional delegation to give us the flexibility and the resources we need to fully recover from this or partially recover from this. And so I know they're still working on it. This was just, I think the president decided to put the resources towards making sure that FEMA is whole. And but we're hopeful that the delegation will make some inroads to try and come up with more resources, dollars to take care of some other ongoing needs.
Governor, do you have a sense, or maybe an updated sense, of how some of Vermont's homeless population is faring during this crisis, and are they eligible for FEMA relief funds as well?
We did not distinguish between those who needed assistance because of the flooding that were displaced from their homes from those who were homeless before. So they were able to come to the emergency shelters in all the communities that we had set those up. We have currently, due to lack of participation, been able to put those on not completely closed, but on standby. And so we weren't seeing the need at that point in time from either those displaced from their home or the homeless population to utilize those emergency shelters. So we have the general assistance program that is still in effect. So we're doing all we can to help out.
Understood. And do you know if, let's just say, somebody's tent and camping gear and everything was washed away, is that eligible for a reimbursement through FEMA?
I don't know. It is. Okay. I'll let General Roy.
Yes, if their personal belongings were impacted by the storm, yes, they are eligible for reimbursement from FEMA.
And is it just is that application process different? Like, I know you have to have
Nope. No, we have means by which people can apply for that, either the 1-800 number or our DRCs. We have 9 DRCs all over the state. And I think we've
maybe one or two more.
Governor, as far as cleanup day, how is the state going to make sure that you disperse very unpopular the cost?
Yeah. Again, I'm going to let Kate, I think she's going to use their structure under Green Up Day to use all of their resources to determine what's needed in the community, and then use Serve Vermont as well to try and work together and take care of as much need as possible. Kate?
So we're asking towns to step forward that have the need. Some towns don't, and that's great, right? But we're asking those towns to step forward. We are promoting that this is public space litter. The litter that's cleaned up will be public space, not construction or flood debris. And we will make sure that everyone is reimbursed appropriately, or we will handle the disposal fees of that public space litter. If there is money left over, we will make sure that it is used in a way that helps other towns that might be in need with various other projects, but all flood recovery, public space, litter related.
I think it's well, if you think about this as a day of service in some respect to your community, and it could be for anything that you might see that need some assistance. I was down on Route 2 going out of Montpelier towards Middlesex, and I saw the debris had been picked up on a lot of the residents along the way, but there's still debris left, right? So I'm thinking, why don't you get a rake, ask the homeowner if they'd like you to clean that up, and just present it a little bit better, get them beyond the impact of the flooding so they can move forward. But it can be as myopic as that. It could be a neighborhood. It could be a whole community. It could be going out on a trail, picking that up. Whatever you feel you can do to assist and get us, to a point where we're, again, welcoming people to Vermont and showcasing what we have to offer. Thank you all again, and again, Ernie, thank you so much for all you've done. Would you like to say anything in
Well,
closing?
I'd like to thank 802 Subaru and Dave Birmingham for hosting this. Please give Dave a hand. I live in Massachusetts, but again, Vermont is very close to my heart. I have a house here, and you guys got a great governor. Take some pictures.
Absolutely.
There's another 100,000 on this. Let's just keep that in mind.